Spot, the video game. Warning, not recommended for squares. And welcome to
Holy shit, that was great. That was a great joke there. That was good.
You liked it?
I was so confused just now.
Yeah.
You just gotta know.
For those that don't know, Spot is a circle. So it would make sense that it's not for
so
squares.
Good, dude.
Who are we?
Who are
and
you?
I'm Joe.
Okay,
I'm
good.
Sean.
We have Joe, we have Sean, and you have me, Mike, your host, doing a chronological exploration of every NES game released in North America. This week, we're playing Soda. We're playing Soda. It's 7-Up's mascot.
It's like Pop.
Yeah, it's
Pop
yeah,
Soda.
sorry. It depends on where you're from. If Soda, Pop, what'd you say, fizzy drink, Sean?
Yeah.
Coke.
Sean says fizzy drink. I know
Yeah.
over in Europe, they say that they want it with gas. They're like, water with gas. That just sounds nuts. You guys gotta work on something better
They
than
all
that.
say that.
Dude, does anyone just say Soda Pop anymore? Just bring back
No,
Soda and
you're
Pop
actually
together?
kind of. I think you're some kind of like schizophrenic. I think if you say that.
I might start trying to do it. I think it sounds the most delicious.
All the
Okay.
soda talk is happening because this is a game about a soda mascot, 7-Up's mascot, Spot, who is a red circle, who wears sunglasses, has stick figure arms and legs, but not stick figure hands and feet. It's a little confusing. I guess, technically he might have them under the shoes and the gloves, but I prefer to just think that the shoes and gloves are, atomically part of his body.
Now I like to think
Atomically or
that,
Adam? Never mind.
that basically he is just a stick figure, and he's wearing the red circle. And he's wearing the gloves and shoes and sunglasses, and he's really just like a void of stick.
And this is just like his job. He's just like, hey, it's a living.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he'd say that.
Yeah.
No, Spot's, cool. Spot would be like...
Not
Yeah.
here.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a game Cool Spot.
Oh yeah. I just meant he's giving off that he's hip, It's like Spot, Spot would be like, I don't work for the man.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. Spot also not around anymore, right? When was the last time you saw this guy on a bottle of 7-Up?
I don't know the last time I saw a bottle of 7-Up.
Oh, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah,
Joe,
okay.
when's the last time you saw a bottle of 7-Up?
I don't know. What about you, Joe?
I haven't seen 7-Up in I hadn't thought about it until I started playing this game. I was like, is 7-Up still around? Do people still drink that?
Now, the 7-Up, it does have in the logo a red circle, and I promise this is going somewhere, but obviously, I think that red circle is not, I don't know why it's there in the first place, but now that, they were like, hey, we can make that red circle our mascot, I'm all in. I'm invested in Spot as a character. He was always there. He was always lurking. And now I just want to know, when I don't see Spot on screen, I'm asking myself, where's Spot?
It's weird that, if you're just playing a standard game, that, the number one, the first player is not the red circle. You are never Spot. Unless you play a 4-player game.
Well, hold on. You can't just talk about the gameplay like that. Okay,
Oh,
we're talking.
okay,
about,
you're right. I'll hold off. I'll hold off.
I know what it was. I gave you guys too many Simpsons quotes at once, and you didn't
one
understand
we had no
any
idea.
of
Simpsons
them.
quote.
Yeah, it's with Poochie, and they're like,
Oh God.
yeah, never mind.
Oh, God.
It's not an
The
oh god
disgust in
moment
his
because
voice.
believe it or not, The Simpsons is actually a popular American TV show. If
Yeah, but,
you can believe it.
In Europe, they call it gassy cartoon.
Yeah, yellow people with gas.
Whoa.
Whoa, well, they are yellow, Sean. It's not controversial. It's not new.
Well, on my CRT, they're kind of
Yeah.
a sickly green.
You've just got to adjust your CRT.
We're not even doing like filler stuff right now. That's what's crazy. It's like there's things to talk about in this game. We're not trying to kill time.
I tried.
I don't think I'm trying to kill time. I think there's just so much to talk about when it comes to a video game starring a soda bottle mascot where the mascot does not make me think about the soda at all. You know, like Pepsi Man. He's just like a guy dressed, to the nines in Pepsi. What does Cool Spot make you think of 7-Up for? Because he's the
I'm
red
not gonna
circle.
lie though. Maybe this is the genius of their branding, but just that red dot does make me think of 7-Up.
There you go. And you haven't seen a bottle in ages.
7-Up is not red. It doesn't have like a cherry flavor or anything.
It does. Cherry 7-Up is one of my favorite flavors.
Well, no, I'm saying, but
but
regular
not like real
7-Up doesn't
7-Up.
have an inherent.
That's
cherry
poser
flavor.
7-Up.
But like that little circle makes me think, yeah, that's what 7-Up. That's what the taste of 7-Up would look like.
Now, if I could talk about video games,
I don't want you to talk about the video game. You're going to scoop my story.
I'm not going to talk about this video game.
Oh, perfect. Then go ahead.
Okay, so the spot that I remember is from Cool Spot. And maybe I'm stealing your sequels and spin-offs bullshit, Mike, but I want to talk about this. When I was young and would go to Blockbuster to rent video games, I had rented Cool Spot and thought it was one of the coolest things in the world. Like, you just see this bottle of 7-Up, looked realistic. Like, wow, I'm playing this game and it's in real life. And the bottle sort of washes up onto a beach, and then you just sort of jump out of the bottle and like start hanging out on the beach. And I thought that was one of the coolest things in the world. And then the rest of the game happened, and it was lame. So that's all. That's my memory of 7-Up and Cool Spot.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that because that was relevant to the topic we were discussing, which is one of the mascots in the Mascot Hall of Fame, Spot from 7-Up. I have a 7-Up memory, and it involves cherry 7-Up, which is not a poser drink.
Poser 7-Up.
Yeah, it's not a poser drink. And that was that one time I like some birthday party that I was invited to, and I was like 4 years old.
Whose birthday?
I don't know. It was like my cousin's, I think, and I had a.
How many cousins do you have?
I have 15 cousins on one side and 6 on the other. And I drank a cup of cherry 7-Up, and I still can taste it to this day. I don't know if I said I was gonna like remember it or whatever, but I remember how refreshing that cherry 7-Up was that day. And so I really want Spot the video game to be good. Joe, last chance. Any 7-Up memories?
Honestly, I'll be straight with you guys. I don't know what 7-Up is. I don't know what we're talking about. I've never heard of it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's like Sprite.
Oh,
okay,
whoa.
Yeah. Well, okay, but all right, joking aside, I know it doesn't taste exactly like Sprite. What's
True.
the difference? Really?
I don't know.
Like,
I really don't.
Is it sweeter?
No, I will tell you the difference. I do know the difference. Sprite has an emphasis on, in my opinion, on the lime part of lemon lime. I don't think 7-Up hits the same lime.
You think it's more lemon?
I think it's more lemon.
Oh, okay.
I disagree.
You think that wait, who's doing it harder?
I think that I don't remember the taste of 7-Up. So
and you're gonna disagree? What are you?
So I'm disagreeing.
Oh my goodness, this guy.
Because I don't remember the taste of it.
I honestly might, right after we're done recording this, run and grab a 7-Up.
Yeah. It's like, who let one of our Twitter users on the show today? What the hell is going on over here? Anyway, to get into the video game, which is aptly titled Spot the Video Game, naturally, it's based on like Othello and Reversey rules. And if there's one way I'm going to make my soda mascot stand out, it's by reinventing the rules to a 100-plus-year-old game.
I've never played Othello before.
Didn't we?
But you kind of have, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it an episode of
It
this
was a
podcast?
game.
We already played Othello?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you were on it.
The
black and white circles.
I thought that was Go.
No, oh my God, we definitely didn't play Go. I don't think they can bring Go to the NES. I don't think they had the computation.
I must
for
have
it.
not been on that episode.
Well, we'll check it out. Listeners, please check it out. Here's the
Let
thing.
Sean know at No, I'm just kidding.
It's not Othello in reverse. I think that's
No.
important to say. Is like this isn't just like, hey, let's take the rules of Othello, let's use the same exact board, and let's just make it, red and green.
Is it because there's
square.
breakdancing in this one?
No. It's way more.
No, there
than
is
that.
breakdancing in Othello.
In Othello, I believe in Othello you could place one white circle on any of the. I think it's an 8x8 board. You can place it anywhere on there, and then your opponent puts a black piece down, and then you keep doing that. But basically, after you try to capture the opponent's circles. So if you have if you're white and you have a white piece, and then there are 3 black pieces in between, like sandwiched in between, if you put the next white piece down in between those 3 black pieces to kind of like hug the ends of those 3 black pieces, they turn white.
Yeah, you have to sandwich your opponent's pieces in between 2 of your pieces to capture them.
Yes.
Oh, and in this one, it's just they got to touch.
They have to be
At
adjacent, yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is a different kind of game, and again, a weird way to like be like, when I think of 7-Up, I think of that old board game, but like with new rules. Like next they're going to tell me that Pepsi Man is going to go on to make chess 2. It's like we don't need to just. Why couldn't it be an action platformer? Why couldn't it just be like Spot doing something interesting?
Probably because you probably need like thousands of, I don't know how this works at all, but thousands of fewer lines of code to make this. Like I feel like you could just make this like.
So
I think you guys need to like take this from my perspective. Somebody who has already described that they know of Spot from an action platformer game, and then seeing like, oh, I guess there was one on the NES, and then getting this.
Yeah.
I think it's even more surprising than just only hearing that it was a soda at one point and now it's a video game. Like it's just very strange.
I mean, I agree, and I fully expected this to be a platformer, but then once I booted up, I was like, oh, they were lazy.
So there's a couple of other big changes, other than just like, so we're saying the Othello things this way you at least get the general concept, but also Othello does not have any more than 2 players. Spot allows for 4-player fun, so that is kind of interesting as well. And so you can have anywhere from 2 to 4 players. Each one starts in their own respective corner, and you just put a piece down in a 7x7 board. You're free to design the board however you want, and by design I mean removing available spaces to lay down your pieces on, but everybody takes turns starting from the corners laying down a piece, and the game kind of starts slowly. You're at the corners and they're at their corners. Nobody's really touching each other yet. It's like a middle school dance. And then next thing you know, all of a sudden, somebody gets close to the middle and another person sees an opportunity to take. And if a player selects an existing piece of their color and then puts it on adjacent to a piece of another player's color, all of the adjacent pieces that are not the current player's color will also change that color. And when you have to talk about colors and squares and grids this much, you can understand how confusing it must be if you're not playing the game to have someone describe it to you like this. So just take my word for it. It's kind of like Othello with some extra steps to make sure that they don't get, I don't know, who invented Othello? Nobody's going to sue them.
Shakespeare.
Somebody might hold the rights. So maybe we shouldn't talk about the game.
And here's an interesting thing, too. You don't have to, you can't lay down pieces anywhere, but basically from the piece that you laid down, you can either move 1 or 2 steps away from that piece. So you can move across the board pretty fast.
Yeah, but the sort of balancing act here is if you do move 2, then you have to sort of like make it as if that piece is actually like jumping over there. Like it doesn't get to stay there. But if you only move 1, it's kind of like you're a cell undergoing mitosis, and then you get to sort of like blob a bit.
Yeah, and that actually makes it, that does add an extra layer here, because if you're surrounded by, the opposite color, and you want to jump over them to take a bunch over there, you are already inherently leaving an open space for them to come and take a bunch of yours because you're not leaving a piece behind. So if you can, sometimes it's better to just move one space, so keeping all your spaces filled, so there's not like somewhere in the center of all your pieces that they can go in and take a whole square worth, a whole 3 by 3 of your pieces.
There's so much strategy here. There's endless opportunities for not just fun, but also for capturing for capturing the pieces too, because the boards change. So it's not like, oh, like I know how this goes because it's just a 7x7 board and you can place them wherever. It's like, no, all of a sudden you can design it in the shape of like a smiley face if you want to. That's pretty neat.
Endless fun.
Endless fun, but we all know that the game really shines, and I mean really shines because Spot becomes an animated character to move between the pieces. So when you select, even if it's not a red circle, if you select a piece and move it somewhere else, that piece becomes Spot, and he does some cool things with his legs and arms, and I think he even has, like, what is that, like a cane?
He'll do like a cartwheel.
Yeah.
He'll break dance, like I said before.
Yep.
He'll sort of loiter, like he would in an alleyway when you're waiting to make your move, and so he can jump you because he's that kind of cool.
Yeah,
he's kind of dangerous.
I love that, like the idea of what's cool to these developers is like loitering. But like it is a very cool loitering. But like it's like, yeah, this is what kids like to see.
He's like a jet in that thing.
He has like a lot of different animations depending on like where you make him go too. So like if he's facing, this is hard to describe again on a podcast, but if he's always looking at you, right, out to the television, and if you move him backwards one square, he kind of pretends to like fall in the hole.
Yeah.
And that's just really cool.
He does like the Egypt walk if it's just to the left or right.
Yeah, with a little music to it too. It goes like da na 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 na. Like actually, that's the song. It does.
Yeah.
And there's also like a little cartwheel thing. And in this, correct me if I'm wrong, it's one animation per every like possible direction you can go, right?
Yeah,
probably,
absolutely.
So I feel like if you go down, like diagonal down right one, he's got the same animation every time. But if you jump over next one, it's a different animation. But it's all dependent on which direction you're going.
Yeah, down and left is a moonwalk. Like it's pretty crazy.
You have no idea what Spot's going to do at any time, and that's the hook of the game. Spot can do anything.
It's actually scary,
but he could. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't do it, but he could do it. Since it's a game of capture, it also has like a finite amount of moves that can be done before the game is over. So just like Othello and Reversi, the way the game is scored is by whoever has the most colored pieces on the board at the end of the game after every possible square has been filled. That is the winner. And then it goes back to the title screen and you ask your friends, would you like to play again?
Well, no, it doesn't just go back to the title screen.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
It then pulls back to show that you've been playing this game in the center of a giant stadium that is doing the wave, and they're holding up signs that say that your color won, and there's fireworks.
Yeah, but that's
it goes back to the screen.
That's just a stadium where you're inside a TV, though, so it's not even real. Because in the setup of the game, you're seeing, first off, like the controller, like, who's computer and who's a human and how much time they have between moves and stuff. You're setting that up. But there's an NES, like, in the game that you're seeing as well as the TV. So, like, you're playing on an NES on your TV. Now you're on a screen looking at an NES with a TV. And then you're going to go inside that, which is a stadium.
So are you saying that if you can find the button to walk away from the in-game NES, it's like a life sim?
Yeah, there's got to be, like, you get to go see what Spot's doing otherwise, because you can actually see on the TV, Spot is, at least in this section of the TV I'm remembering, He's on not ESPN but SSPN, which must stand for the Sports
Spot.
Network.
Sprite News Network.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Sprite.
Wait a minute.
Don't say Sprite.
What does the P stand for in this?
Delicious Sprite.
What does the P stand for in ESPN?
An ESPN. Well, an SSPN.
Entertainment, sports. What is? the
I've
P?
never thought about this. What does the P stand for at ESPN?
Well, what does the E stand for? Entertainment, sports,
People
network. Were you just gonna say every word after me?
Entertainment and sports
There's a
programming
delay.
network.
I'm saying I said these last night before I went to bed.
Oh, okay, got it.
Sports
Wow.
programming.
Oh,
Here's a question. Okay,
Here's an answer.
Spot the video game main menu. It's already pretty bare, right? It says,
Should it just be one button moves your cursor in all directions?
No. I would never ask a question like that. I would never. This is serious, okay?
Okay.
The way that they have like put Spot, like how they've done the text for it, there are black dots on the P and the O that kind of make it look like two eyes, right?
Sure.
Like two eyeballs, because
like googly eyes.
Yeah, they're
But
more
it-
googly eyes than eyes.
yeah, exactly. They look silly, but couldn't they have just put Spot's sunglasses
Oh yeah.
over the P and the O, so this way, because they're kind of like circles, and then it's like
Or just over the O, and then it's just Spot's
Yeah.
logo.
Sure, it's just kind of weird that Spot's not on the logo, and it's just this font.
Well, Mike, are you in your name?
That's a great point. It's just you all crunched up as an M.
Like, if I were to write my name, would you be in there?
Write that one down, Joe. Write that one down right now. No, I don't have to be in my name because that's not something that's possible, but we don't know that Spot can't do that. Like, that does feel like something Spot could do.
You're right. It does. That is the vibe that he's putting down.
Spot gives
Are
me the
you
vibe
in
that he
your
could
name
do
might
anything.
be that might be my favorite thing you've ever said, Sean.
Wow. I'm
The
honored.
bar is
I'm
so
not saying
low.
other things are worse.
No, the bar is really low.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I don't even like that, but it's still my favorite thing you've ever said.
Like it.
It also says 7-Up, which is spelled out SEVEN-UP. 7-Up, and then 7-Up, the number 7 and UP. Are there two different brands of 7-Up?
No, it's just that they're both trademarked. And that's the show.
That's got to be the show.
Now,
because-
wait a minute. I have a question now.
Okay.
How many spots are there? Is it the same spot every time you see the animation, or does each team have their own spot?
Well, we know that there's at least two spots.
Right.
No, we know
because-
there's at least like 150 compared. Everybody in the stadium was a spot.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they're all in the back. They're all red circles
Oh, yeah, you're
that
right.
spell out your name. They say win, and then whatever color.
So this is like an extended, like this is like an alternate universe where everybody is a spot.
Well, maybe this is just, it doesn't have to be an alternate universe. It's just like a planet of spots.
Oh, okay.
They should have made like an Astrobot style game, but for Spot, and he like works at the 7-Up factory, and it's like all cool, like 7-Up memorabilia and history,
Yeah.
and that would have been great.
It's
But
not
instead
too
we
late.
got this. It's
Maybe
not
if
too
they
late,
drop a
but
console. I'm also noticing right now on the on the options screen where you can like change your timer and all that. The TV with the NES, they're just like there's two spots in a band. One's playing the guitar, the other's playing the drums.
Oh, there's all sorts of different channels for that. Must
Oh,
be
okay.
on STV.
Can you change the channel? Oh wait! I just saw the cursor go over the button. Is that what's
Well,
happening?
yeah, like we said, like this is just a mini game in a larger Spot universe.
Wow, I didn't realize that like you actually had that control. I thought you guys were just commenting on the animation.
Go select the NES. You can change the cartridge to Super Mario Brothers and play that.
You can play
instead.
any game.
And it's just Spot doing Mario stuff.
No, can we go back to the game for a minute? And by that I
No.
mean we've been talking about the game, but I meant the Othello style game. Can we go back to that for a second?
Sure.
You can't get that attitude to try and talk about the game after I try to talk about the game and you're mean about it.
That's true. I was kind of mean about it.
You're pretty mean about it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right,
Aw.
back to what I wanted to discuss. There is some depth to this though, even if you don't have friends, right? Because like the computers are tough. I'll say that much. Like the computers know how to play the game.
They're vicious.
Yeah, you and your friends probably don't know how to play the games. That's probably more fun. But like there is a lot of thought to put into this. I'm not saying the developers put in a lot of thought, but there is a lot of thought as a player to like be good at this. To go back to Pipe Dream, right? Like it takes 5 seconds to understand, but it takes a lifetime to get good, really good at Spot.
Stop it.
But no one's gonna spend a lifetime. Is that what you're saying, Sean? Nobody's still playing Spot today. There aren't like the Spot World Championships on SSPN.
No, I just hate the way you said it, like that stupid AI said it, and it really grinded my gears. But I think partially that, yeah, like it's funny that this game is so simple, and the developers probably didn't really think too hard about it. Yeah, I'm gonna make that claim that what Joe said earlier, we're just gonna call them lazy, But yeah, I guess there are some like emergent strategies that come out of it, like protecting your interior and stuff. Yeah,
I don't think that this like as a board game is a bad game. I like games like this. I like Othello, but now that I'm thinking about it, this isn't one of those ones. Like this does do a little tiny bit of that thing that I'm always saying. Like if you're gonna make it a video game, might as well do stuff that you couldn't do in a board game. And this sort of does. I mean, it's stuff you could do, but it would be tedious. Like, if you had 4 players, you'd have to be replacing. You can't just flip over the discs. You'd have to be replacing the different colors with different discs. That would be annoying.
Yeah, and you can't have Spot do any of this stuff in real life.
You would have to breakdance on the board. But then, same thing with, like, when you're moving things one... I guess, yeah, you could, instead of moving things one space, you're just, like, adding one to a space adjacent to your own. But, I mean, I guess none of this is stuff you couldn't do, but it's just, you can't flip over the disc 4 times and have 4 different colors like you do.
We'll just have a 4-sided die.
That's true. You got to have cubes. But that's,
Joe, it's kind of like that time
6 players.
Joe, it's kind of like that time we played Monopoly on PS5. And it's like, it wasn't necessary, right? But like it made
right.
playing Monopoly so much easier.
Oh, it's so much faster. It's just like, this is, here's all your money. It's right there already. You don't have to track down the banker and be like, give me this money, and then watch people steal from it.
There are other Spot video games.
Okay.
I just wanted to acknowledge that. I'm not going to do a sequels and spin-offs thing because Sean already talked about Cool Spot. But here's something interesting. Joe, did you really call the developers lazy?
Did I? Oh, are they not? Am I going to learn that they were that they worked themselves to death on this, and now I'm going to feel bad?
The NES version of Spot the video game was created in 6 weeks.
I mean, that could be considered lazy. It could be considered hustle.
No. It was. I think I don't have any information to confirm this, but I think they were given 6 weeks, and then they kind of procrastinated for 5 of them, and then they made it.
It was the night before.
Yeah.
Well, notice how I said the NES version. Because this is just a shameless plug for a giant soda company to try to get their branding on a video game on a popular console. You see, the original game was a game called Infection, and it was made by Wise Owl Software, and it was on, like, computers, C64, Atari ST, and then there was apparently an arcade version called Attacks, but ATAXX. And then 7-Up branding got involved because they were, I guess, looking for like a quick way onto the NES, and they saw this game and said, hey, those are circles. We have a circle for a mascot. Like, let's put our guy on this. And then the same development team that made the original game was in charge of making the NES version here, and they made it in just 6 weeks, which, sounds like a lot of time to just, like, put it out. But you have to remember, the NES is, like, in assembly, so it's like any game that is a port of another game is also basically, at the very least, a redo. Not necessarily a remake, but, like, it doesn't just, like, oh, this is the C64 code, and let's bring it on to the NES. It doesn't work like that back then, so that is kind of crazy.
They didn't
right?
have Unity?
They did not have Unity or Unreal.
Wow.
Yep. Or even what's the Source? Half-Life? What's the Half-Life one?
That's
Gary's
Source.
Mod?
Yeah, just Gary's Mod.
They didn't have Gary's Mod to make these games. Anyway, one other neat fact, the NES version was briefly offered for a limited time for just $24.99. Sounds expensive, but came with 4 7-Up bottles.
I'm trying to think about like inflation adjustment.
Yeah, what that would be.
I read it wrong.
Is that still like a $60 game?
I read it wrong. I'm sorry. It's even worse. The game could become $24.99 if you handed in 4 7-Up bottles.
This was
So
the
what was it
recycling.
without the 4
Wow.
7-Up bottles?
It must have
Well, they
been
wanted
50.
to make sure. Yeah, you spent.
Yeah, so
you
you had to,
spent
like-
at least like $15 on soda before you bought the game.
Yeah, I actually heard that Fallout 5 will be discounted based on how many bottles of Nuka-Cola you buy beforehand.
I'm in.
The game is also available besides on the NES on the Game Boy, the Amiga, Windows, and Atari ST, as I mentioned. And there's just some light differences between that. Sean mentioned Cool Spot on the Genesis, but there's also...
That was on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, okay, it's also on the Genesis.
Okay.
And then Spot Goes to Hollywood. Did you ever go to, not Blockbuster, but maybe you went to Hollywood Video to get that one?
I did not.
Okay. So there was those two, and then there was also Spot, the Cool Adventure on Game Boy. And just saying Spot a lot reminds me that, like, when I saw Spot the video game, I was thinking of a totally different Spot, maybe a much cooler Spot, if you catch my drift, pun intended. And I'm thinking about the dog, the yellow dog
See Spot run.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where's his video game? That would be sick.
Probably in the baby aisle.
Oh, you know, it's funny. Spot did teach me how to read. That was my first
This
book.
Spot 7-Up Spot?
Yeah, 7-Up Spot taught me to read because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, 7 Up.
I was
Yeah.
so freaking wired on caffeine.
That you just knew how to
I
read.
just figured it out.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about learning how to read or Spot the dog or really even video games, apparently, today. Today we're just judging things based on 7-Up as a soda brand. And the best place to judge anything would be the Essential Games List. This is pretty easy. This is not going to be something that I'm going to joke about or, make into a long spiel. This shouldn't have been what you ever do with a mascot. This is Mascot No-Nos 101. I don't think this makes Spot seem all that cool. I do agree that the animation of the tricks he's doing is great, but why can't he just do those kinds of tricks in a game where I control him? It's so weird that they went this board game route. It's going to be unmemorable. We're going to... Definitely an oddity. Like, whenever somebody talks about 7-Up now, I'm going to think about this game. But overall, I don't think this helps nostalgia, Nintendo, 7-Up, or Spot. I think Spot's probably the biggest casualty of this whole thing. And he's going to live for a lot longer. He gets all the way to Spot Goes to Hollywood. But he's not around with us anymore, and that's a sign. So no, it's not on the Essential Games list. Joe?
Yeah, I generally I like games like this. I like little not video games like this, but I like Othello. I like dots. You ever play dots on a piece of paper? I don't know if this is the place for it. I mean, I guess it's fine if you're looking for like a board game experience. Fine. I don't think that especially if you're trying to market your mascot as like the cool thing. I don't know if anyone's like picking this up and be like, yes, this is awesome. I'm going to say not essential, but yeah, it's a fine little take on Othello, but definitely a disappointment for someone as cool as Spot.
Sean?
I'll take back what I said that the developer was lazy. I think that was unfair. And I kind of feel I've been feeling bad about that since I said it because obviously, did the job. You know, they made the spot game. They made the moonwalk animations. So I just want to get that out there. However, I don't like this game, so it's not essential.
That's 3 no's, but I do want to revisit something Joe said in his essential games list vote, which is that he enjoys the game Dots on paper. As if that's a console, like paper is its
well, it
own.
was ported to paper.
It was ported to paper. So great. What are some other great paper games?
Well,
like
you
the
know, I
launch
Tic-tac-toe?
title is Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah,
It's an all-timer.
I almost mentioned this on the essential games list, but I was like, no one will know it. But now I'll mention it anyways. I like the game Dots, and what Mike and Sean, you both know about me. Our listeners probably don't. I am an obsessive Survivor fan. Love Survivor. I've seen all 48 seasons, all that. I recently was rewatching an early season, and one of their immunity challenges was Dots, but with like ropes on like a beach. And I was like, you know what? I like Dots and I like Survivor. I don't know if this just because Dots is good doesn't make it like a great, exciting reality TV challenge. Dots, Sean, since you asked, is you've got a paper full of a grid of dots, and you and another player take turns drawing a line from either vertically or horizontally, no diagonals, from one dot to another.
Yeah.
You keep doing that until when one person closes a box, they own the box, and then they can go again. So if you like leave someone to be able to close a box, you can like cause a chain reaction where now they can close like 20 in a row or something like that.
There's a great port of Dots on Nintendo Switch, part of Clubhouse 51.
I thought you were going to say a port of Dots on like the Magnet Doodle or something.
Yeah.
Or
No, for real. Clubhouse 51, great game on the Switch, and it has many of these board games. And I think it has Othello as well. They might be calling it Reversey. There is a difference between Othello and Reversey. I always thought it was just like a language thing or like a different way of saying the same
like
game.
Hellman's mayonnaise.
Sure, but the difference is that Reversey has the fixed position where it's in the center. The center 4 squares are black, white, black, white. So this way it's black, white, white, black. So this way it's a defined position. Whereas in Othello, you can start in any position you want, which I think is interesting. One more thing I just want to talk about, which wasn't really like a flaw with the game. It's a flaw with me. But like, was it ever unclear to anybody else which circles exactly were going to change for them? Like okay, if I move my thing here, were you ever like 100% certain of like which ones were gonna flip?
At first, I wasn't clear on that it's diagonally adjacent works also, because the way that the grid is laid out, anything that you're adjacent to, not diagonally, they're a lot closer to each other because the space diagonally between them is a lot larger. So that was confusing at first, but once I figured that, I think I got the gist.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like black magic. It was pretty simple.
Okay, so I should just feel bad.
You should.
It's not as complicated as Solitaire,
as Mike makes it out to be.
Also, speaking of last week, I just want to confirm that Hogwarts Legacy does cut to black before you pet the cat.